I put a hidden camera in my lunch after someone kept stealing it. Horror called me in today minus, but not for the reason you think. Ever had that moment when you open the office fridge and your carefully packed lunch is mysteriously missing? For 6 weeks straight, someone had been stealing my homemade meals from the break room fridge. It started with just a few bites taken pert annoying, but not worth making a scene over. Then entire portions disappeared. Finally, last Thursday, my entire container of lasagna vanished, pert a container and all. I'm not just talking about a sandwich here. I meal prep every Sunday. Pert roasted vegetables, grilled chicken, homemade dressings. It takes hours, and I'm on a strict budget saving for my sister's medical bills, so eating out daily isn't an option. I left notes on my food. Please don't take. This is Sarah's lunch. I even brought in bright pink containers that literally had my name written in permanent marker. Nothing worked. When I complained to my coworkers, most were sympathetic, but my manager just laughed it off. Maybe bring less delicious looking food, he suggested, helpful. So last Friday, I decided to catch the thief. I bought a tiny camera disguised as a button, positioned it on my lunch bag facing outward, and placed my container in its usual spot in the fridge. That day I packed my famous chicken curry perned, the one my colleagues always comment on when I heat it up. Perfect bait. At 11:47 a.m. my phone buzzed with a motion alert. I watched live as someone opened the fridge, looked around suspiciously, and took my container. The camera caught everything, including their face. It was Kevin, the Kermai of Epions, the guy who drives a Tesla and wears designer suits. I was shocked. Kevin wasn't some hungry intern parrot. He made at least triple my salary. He could afford any lunch he wanted, yet there he was, sneaking my homemade curry into his office. I debated confronting him directly, but decided to go through proper channels. I emailed Adder with the video attached, explaining the situation calmly, and requesting they address the ongoing theft. This morning, I received an urgent meeting request from Diane and Etcher. Great. I thought they're finally taking this seriously. When I walked into the conference room, I found not only Diane but also our company's legal counsel and the head of security. My stomach dropped. Sarah, Diane began, her voice unusually formal. We need to discuss your use of unauthorized surveillance equipment on company property. For 20 minutes, they lectured me about privacy violations, company policy, and potential legal implications of my surveillance operation. The word termination was mentioned twice. I sat there stunned, wondering how I had become the villain in this scenario. Then the head of security, a former police officer named Mark, cleared his throat. Before we continue, I'd like to address the actual content of the video. He turned his laptop around. On screen was a paused image of Kevin, my lunch in hand, but now I could see what my small phone screen had missed. Pert. He was removing my food and replacing it with an identical container. We reviewed the full security footage from the break room, Mark explained. For the past month, Mr. Kevin Thompson has been taking your lunch. Yes, parent, but he's been replacing it with identical meals prepared by his personal chef. Apparently, Kevin had been so impressed with my lunch aromas that he asked his chef to recreate my recipes. Each day, he'd swap my homemade meals with professionally prepared versions of the same dish, adding extra portions and using higher-end ingredients. He thought you might appreciate the upgrade, Diane said, looking uncomfortable. Though he acknowledges now that he should have asked permission. Kevin appeared in the doorway looking embarrassed. I was going to tell you eventually, he said. I just couldn't figure out how to explain that I was essentially stealing your recipes without sounding creepy. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so I am not fired. No, Diane said, but please remove your camera. And Kevin, parent, please stop taking people's food without permission, even if you are replacing it with better food. Kevin now pays for my sister's meal prep service as an apology, and yes, his chef's curry is actually better than mine. Sometimes the office food thief has the strangest motivations, but I still lock my desk drawer now just in case.